Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. If this is your first time discovering my channel, then welcome. And if you've been here for a second or third time and you have yet to hit that subscribe button, then what are you waiting for, honey? I'm still gonna be with the foolishness each and every review. Now let's get into it. Tonight we're going to be reviewing The Little Women of Atlanta. When the episode first opens up, we see Minnie and Abira. No, we see Monie and Abira. Y'all know how I am about them M's, child. We see Monie and Abira going to meet with Minnie, and they're going to talk about what happened at the release party or the launch party, and they're meeting for lunch. So when the scene first opens up, we see them going to the restroom, and Abira is giving us a little insight on what happens when a little person goes to use a public restroom. Basically, it's hard for them because the toilets are so high and they're so low to the ground. But, you know, of course, she made her way through it, honey, without drowning. So that's a good thing. So they get over to the table and then they start to talk about the lunch party. So Minnie is talking about how Juicy shaded her when the party first began. And so Abir was like, yeah, you know, I cannot believe you came to support her and then she gonna shade you. Of course, y'all know that's what Juicy does, honey. She invites Minnie somewhere so she can embarrass her, honey. I already told y'all that in the last review. But this episode, Juicy redeemed herself, so we gonna kind of let it slide. So then they start talking about the lunch party, and then Abira says that the twins need to apologize to her. Okay, Abira, but both of y'all, all three of y'all were in the wrong. So you need to accept responsibility for your part in the fight as well. I mean, they weren't just fighting themselves. I mean, if you not been talking real close and that spit when it came through that slit in your teeth, then none of this would have ever happened. And you shouldn't even been concerned about them not coming to your party. You know, quite frankly, this is just my opinion. I don't feel like you should have been pressed that they didn't come to your party. You don't like them. Actually, you really do deep down inside like them. But I think it was that season when they kind of clowned you about being a little bit too hood and a little bit too ghetto. That gave you a bad taste in your mouth. So now y'all are always at odds. But the bottom line is anybody in their right mind would not come to your home knowing you don't like them. I mean, it could be a setup. Girl, come on now. Let's start thinking. So then they're talking to her. And while they talking, child, Abira eating this food like she's fresh out of prison, honey. I was like, are you going to come up for air? I mean, them nachos just... I'm like, God, girl, I know you said you was hungry when they first walked through the door, but my God, I mean, take a breath, come up for some air so you can hear what they are saying. So they're talking about the whole thing. And so Abira's still on a 10. And then after she discusses it with Abira a bit more, they were asking if she feels like she can be in the same setting with the twins. And she was like, I don't really know. I don't know if I can be in the same setting. I can be there, but I don't know if I'm going to behave myself, is basically what she was saying. So then Monie lets it be known that she wants to do this event at Bury the Hatchet. I'm trying to figure out, is Bury the Hatchet the only place that's in Atlanta? Baby, they will shoot there over and over and over. They have taken the Real Housewives of Atlanta there. Now we're here for Little Women of Atlanta. They did a date with it on Put a Ring on It, I believe. And then anything that's shot, and they must have a contract with reality shows shooting in Atlanta to make sure that they get some publicity, honey. But I don't want to go nowhere and throw no axe, child. I'm not in the mood for all that. But anyway, so then she also tells Abira that I don't think it will probably be wise for you to come, since you just sat here and stated that you don't know if you're going to go nuts or not. Maybe you shouldn't be there. So Abira was like, well, I don't agree, because how are we going to all come to terms with what's going on if I'm not present? Well, girl, you just said you were going to lose your mind if you saw the twins. So what do you want Monie to do? So Monie and Minnie are both looking at each other like, I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but let us pray. Then we go to the next scene where the twins are having breakfast and they start discussing what happened the other night. And so Amanda is trying to tell Andrea, you know what? We should have been like the bigger person. We should have been the bigger people and just walked away. And then she starts saying, you know, Jordan was telling me you're too good for this. You're better than this. And Andrea was like, Chris was telling me, you know what I'm saying? Let me help you take your shoes off and get the party started. And I'm just sitting here thinking, you know what? That's so true to y'all's relationship. Chris don't care if you get hit with anything, honey, because why would he put you in danger? Y'all were throwing glasses, slipping and sliding with those 10-inch heels on. Honey, anything could have happened to you. That just shows the level of maturity that Chris has versus Jordan. Child, okay, child. That's exactly why I said, honey, Chris, you can go on back down to Texas and start taking care of them kids because you ain't doing nothing else, child. Nothing. You bring nothing to the table. So they were just talking about that. And then, they decided that if they see a beer again, they're just going to be the bigger person and not say anything because it was not a good look. It wasn't a good look for any of them. But Amanda seems to be the only one that sees that. Andrea is the more hot-headed one and she's ready to fight. Amanda's like, look, I can't do it. We shouldn't have done it. And quite frankly, I'm embarrassed. So that's where we leave off with that scene. So now we see Juicy, and she's inviting Minnie over to be an example to the girls of how you actually let things go and be mature about a situation. And y'all know what I love about Minnie's, what I loved about Minnie's heart. Did you see how she showed up smiling, just as cheerful, like Juicy ain't never done nothing to her? Honey, how many of us can say we are that mature? I cannot, okay? Because the way that Juicy treats Minnie every time she's in her presence, I would not want to be bothered. But Minnie showed right on up. She smiled. She came and had a seat, started drinking this disgusting looking smoothie that Juicy had made. And so Juicy said, you know what? I just wanted to apologize to you for what I said at the kickoff special about your health because that was wrong of me and I know that hurt you. So Minnie was like, you know what? You can say anything you want to say about me, any man I'm dating, anything else, but I don't play about my health. All right, Minnie, now. Okay? Now let's look here. I'm all with you or whatever, but you said you weren't playing about that baby, that slash sunflower seed that was in your stomach either. So, I mean, just take the apology, girl, and don't put too much on it. Because, you like to lie. Let us not forget. And she did say, I have told some untruths. No, you lied in the past. Okay? So, the fact that Juicy is apologizing to you and y'all can get past it, y'all gave each other a hug and everything seems okay. And you know what I loved even more about this scene? Now that Minnie is no longer with us, thank God that her and Juicy made amends. Like, man, it just really shows you that everything that you do is meant to happen in that moment. Now, how do you think Juicy would have felt if they never buried the hatchet? And that's not a pun, no pun intended. I'm just sitting here thinking like, wow, they actually became friends. It's kind of sad, man. It's sad and it's a happy moment all in one, but man, that just did something to me. I had to shed a little tear because I'm just like, man, they finally became friends and then this happens. But anyway, let's move forward. Monie meets up with Morlin now that she's back in Atlanta. Okay? And he's sitting there looking stupid. And so Monie comes in through the front door and she can't find him. And then he's like, I'm over here. So she goes up to him. She's like, I just want to tell you that I don't have nothing to say to you. And I want to say it to you in person. So he gets up with his 2001 clothes on, honey. He be dressed like he's straight out of a one of them Jermaine Dupri videos, honey. A child, come into this century, please. Come on, catch up. So he goes outside. They're talking or they're arguing because Minnie is it Minnie? Monie? Child, Monie is letting it be known that she don't want nothing. She ain't got nothing for you. And quite frankly, you looking real opportunistic, okay? Because when the girl was in Houston, you didn't have words for her. But now that she's back in Atlanta, mysteriously you show up and you want to work things out. Boy, if you don't get you in your hot top fade and get on out of here, why all of a sudden do you want to work things out with her? That's just crazy to me. So Monie ended up speaking her piece, honey, and she was like, well, I live with the beer now. And he's like, well, let's change that. No, I'm not going to have you set me up somewhere and then you leave and then I'm not able to pay my bills. No, thank you. So Monie spoke her piece and then she walked away. And I felt like that was a good decision. Because quite frankly, he ain't talking about nothing, child. Then we go over to Andrea and Minnie, who meet to discuss the fight. Honey, they gonna discuss this fight till they can't discuss this fight no more. I'm having Potomac flashbacks. Like, how many times can we discuss a fight? Let's all gather. One thing about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, do y'all remember that slumber party where all hell broke loose and Candy got outside of her skin, honey, and told Cynthia's sister Mal that she was gonna drag her? When the fight ensued, they all lost their damn mind. But the next day, they all gathered in one place to talk about it. We don't need 15 scenes of everybody meeting individually to talk about a fight that only had to do with 3 people. Gather all these people up so we can move these scenes along now. Y'all quit playing with me. So then Andrea is talking to her about the fight, child. Okay, here we go. And then she starts asking her about her boo thing. And so Minnie was like, how you know I got a boyfriend? And she said, oh, well, I was listening when you was telling Tara. I overheard at the kickoff special. Girl, you ain't overheard no kickoff special, honey. They wasn't talking that loud. I'm like, okay. And then she was like, and you were talking real loud. And Minnie was like, I was not talking loud. And I'm like, no, you were not. I don't know how she got that information, but some kind of way she got it. Maybe she was investigating on Instagram, honey, because I like to do that in my spare time as well. Then we see the twins and Jordan go to the doctor to talk about Amanda's leg. Jordan's so supportive. Honey, he is so supportive. He really loves him some Amanda. So they go because Amanda is having pain after this fight she had with Abira, and her leg seems to be crooking in. It's not actually straight like it should be. And she says she's had several surgeries to try to correct it, to no avail. So they go and meet with the lady, with the doctor. And so she was just saying, let's just get you some physical therapy for right now. And then after that, we'll see how things turn out. So she's very emotional because she's feeling like, what if I can't have kids? Like I need my legs to work. And I was just thinking on this part, I don't know if I just used my legs too much during pregnancy. I mean, we can get you on some bed rest and you ain't gonna have to move. Just let the baby grow. I mean, if you have to get up and walk a few minutes a day, they should be strong enough for you to get up and walk a few minutes a day. I don't feel like this will affect you having a kid. So I don't want her to put that even out there into the universe. I think you'll be fine. Because, child, I had some fibroids that exploded when I was pregnant, honey. I was paralyzed from the waist down, child. That was the worst experience ever. Now, if I can get through that, I'm sure that you can get through what you're getting through. All right. So then we see all the girls going to meet up at Bury the Hatchet to throw some axes and, get together so that they can, again, talk about this fight. Child, I'm so tired of this fight, honey. Oh, I was tired of it when it happened. And y'all ain't tired of talking about it? So they get together at Bury the Hatchet to talk about the fight. And then after they get through throwing the axes and whatnot, they sit down to have a little lunch. So they're trying to decipher what these dressings are for the salad. And Miss Juicy says, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is gravy or balsamic. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I don't know if it's balsamic. Oh, it's balsamic. Girl, assalamu alaikum. What are you talking about? Balsamic. You were on the radio, honey, which means that you had to go to somebody's school and get somebody's degree. What the hell are you talking about, balsamic? I was like, what? So as she's saying balsamic or assalamu alaikum, I don't know what she was saying, okay? We see Amanda say in her confessional, it's balsamic. Okay, girl, you were sitting right in this girl's face. Why you didn't tell her that it was balsamic? Instead of sitting up there letting her repronounce balsamic 15 times. And all of them were just laughing at her. And she's so oblivious, she don't even know that they laughing at her, honey, because she thinks balsamic makes sense. And Juicy, you didn't have no edge control this day, honey. You look so, that head, let me tell y'all something about me. I hate bad hair. I know y'all are probably seeing a pattern here. I don't like bad wigs. I don't like bad natural hair. Comb your hair. You are on TV, okay? This is not the Ricky Smiley Morning Show where we are not able to see you. We can see you. You're not invisible. So I'm going to need you to comb that head when you're getting ready to go out. And it's balsamic. If you hear this review, it is balsamic, not balsamic. And it dang show ain't no gravy. Oh, child. So then they look at Minnie and she's over there smiling. And they're like, what you smiling at? You must be smiling about your new boo. And she was like, well, and they was like, new boo? When did you get a man? And so then she's like, well, I've been friends with him since 2012, but we just started dating. And I'm like, okay, so when you was concocting this fake relationship, you mean to tell me you could have had a real man? Minnie, get yourself together, honey. So they're like, oh, when we gonna meet him? Who is he? What does he do for a living? Who is people? Where is mama stay? They start asking all these questions. And Minnie was like, you will get to meet him soon. And they was like, when? And she was like, you'll get to meet him soon. So then they started talking to Monie. And, Minnie was saying that she started crying. And she said, I just wonder, why do you want me? I'm a little person. And I can understand that. Because, I know they have to have big insecurities, being that they are not of average size and height. So she was saying, I was just confused as to why he would want me. And she started tearing up. She said, because y'all know I've been in some terrible relationships. No, Minnie, we don't know. The only thing we know about relationships is you faking a whole relationship with that dude, Pastor Troy. We don't know you to be in no real relationships. I ain't never seen Minnie in no real relationship on these seasons ever. And then you went on that one blind date with that weird guy. and that Tanya set you up with. So no, we don't know. But thanks for informing us, honey. So then Money starts saying, yeah, I understand that because when Morlin cheated on me, he didn't cheat with another little person. He cheated with an average sized woman. And I was like, dang. Ooh, he tacky and he ain't got no tact. Like, how dare you go and cheat and then cheat with an average sized person? No wonder she pissed. Boy, get out of here, child. Then we see Minnie and her boo and they go to a glass blowing class. I like them together. I like them. I like the way they interact. I like the way that he treats her. He's real jokey. You know, Miss Minnie love to give a little chuckle, honey. And I just like that he likes her for real. I can tell through the screen that he actually likes her. So they're talking about them meeting him, and he's like, okay, cool. We can just decide. She was like, well, where would you want to meet him? And he said, we can all meet at the club. And I was like thinking, that's not a good setting to meet someone for the first time. I feel like y'all should meet at like a restaurant or something like that, or maybe have a gathering at Minnie's house or something, but not a club. But I mean, I guess to each his own. So he was just saying, as long as they stay on my good side, we all good. So Minnie goes, well, what is your good side? And he said, if they don't like you, I don't like you. Now that's what I'm talking about, honey. I rewinded that part like 3 or 4 times. If I don't like you, then my man don't like you, honey. We a team, honey. It's a package deal. So then we go over to Juicy, who's meeting up with the beer at the nail shop so she can discuss the fight. Ugh. So she said that she didn't feel right about a beer not being there. Now I thought about this. Money. How you gonna leave a beer out, but you sleeping at her house with you and your traveling suitcase when you had no particular place to go? How you gonna have a whole event and then leave a beer out in the cold when she specifically told you that she didn't want to be left out because she wanted to speak her speech? So I'm just trying to figure out how that worked. But then let me get on you, Juicy. So you gonna say, I mean, I don't feel like that was right. And I also feel like, you know, she needs somebody. She came all the way to Florida. She doesn't have anybody, and she's not from Atlanta. Where was this energy when Money showed up at your doorstep with her luggage? You sure kicked her to the curb, honey. You didn't care nothing about that. That girl traveled all the way from Houston with not a pot to piss in, and you told her exit stage left. But now all of a sudden you are concerned about a beer? Juicy child. Anyway. So they start talking. Abira starts getting really defensive. And she was like, you know what? You're right. Whatever y'all say about me, you're right. I don't even want to argue no more because clearly everybody's on their team. She's like, I don't have any family here. Besides my kids, I'm the only one here for me. And you know what? I feel her on that in a way. Because Abira now, you're going to have to let this tough exterior down. You crying every 2 seconds. Stop acting like, you know, where you're from and who you have portrayed to be. This little vicious character that you keep using to build this wall. Let that go. That's why they won't let you in. Because you just come off so rough and tough like nothing bothers you. Honey, you are what they mean. But when they say check on your strong friends, you are not okay. So just say that. And stop sitting here acting like everything is okay when you know that it is not. So she cries a little bit. And, you know, of course she was upset that she was not invited to this event. But, you know, she's going to act like she's not a child. And that's just crazy. Amanda goes to physical therapy. She's sitting there with Andrea and then they start to cry. And she's telling her, you know, I'm sad because I miss mom and dad and I miss the kids. And then Andrea gonna tell her, well, that's no reason to cry. Well, honey, we know you ain't crying, honey. You and Chris love this vacation. Y'all love when they say we're going to start shooting on May 16th or whatever date they give y'all. Because, honey, you going to throw them kids in that back room with that mama down in Texas and you going to be back in Atlanta. We know you ain't crying. Andrea going to say, there's no reason to cry over that. I don't even have my own kids and I don't care. We know, honey, we know. So then she starts to say, well, what if I'm never able to have kids? And so Andrea said, well, I'll have your babies for you. And Amanda said, well, she has her tubes tied. How is that even going to work? She's going to untie them. Oh, child. She going to untie the tubes, honey, and have the babies. But I think you'll be fine. Just lay in the bed, kick them feet up, and deliver that baby. You don't need your feet to have a baby. You don't need them. Oh, my God. I'm sorry, y'all. I just be saying stuff and I be tickling myself, but you don't need your feet, honey. So then we go back over to Money, and she's meeting with Morlin a second time, but this time at the park. Honey, he done laid out this little picnic, child. I ain't buying it. So when she pulls up on him, she realizes that he has on a jacket that she doesn't like. Now this jacket, she said, Money said, you have on your Chester cheetah jacket. I thought that was hilarious. Now she gave this pleather jacket a name, honey. Basically, Morlin was wearing this jacket in every picture that he posted on Instagram, acting like he was living his best life, all in the strip club, all everywhere he wasn't supposed to be, with this brown jacket on. So Money didn't like the jacket. So Morlin was like, well, I'll take the jacket off. And he trying to lay it down on the ground ever so slightly. Baby, Money was like, Money got that knife and got to slicing and dicing that pleather jacket. Honey, that jacket was no more good when she got through with it. But, quite frankly, Morlin, she did you a favor. That jacket was ugly, honey. Okay? Ugly. I'm just gonna keep it there. So then they started to discuss what happened and how he left. And she was like, I'm trying to figure out, when I wasn't on the show, right after I got off the show, you left. But then now that I'm back in Atlanta, you want to pop up again. Because he's an opportunist, girl. He does not want anything to do with you if you are not showing your face on Little Women of Atlanta. Because he likes that clout. That man do not want to be back with you, child. He gonna do the same thing. Don't go back to him. I'm telling you right now, Money, don't do that. So then he's like, well, it was because I felt your negative energy just all the time with the negative energy. That had nothing to do with anything, okay? It was the fact that she had left that show, honey, and the money and the checks were running out. So you decided to leave. That's what it was about. And then she said that he left like a coward. Basically, Morlin left when she took D2 to school. She came back and all of his stuff was gone and he was gone with it. Child, that's so far. I had a man do that to me before, honey. I understand what you're going through. So then he tries to manipulate her by telling her, that she was wrong in some aspects too. And I could see her little wheels turning. And she started to believe what he was saying and the lies that he was spewing, honey. Don't believe it. Now we go back over to Money and Abira, back at Abira's house. Now, Money, you live with Abira. Let's remember that now, honey. When you start planning these get-togethers, you live with Abira. Now, if she had that top locked and you weren't able to get back inside, it would have been nobody's fault but your own. Okay? So they're out on the deck having a talk, and then Money starts to tell Abira, you know what? I started to see his side, and, I did play a part. Abira was like, what part did you play in him cheating on you? And she was like, I didn't listen. Abira was like, girl, look, now normally I stay out of it, but he is manipulating you to think that you had something to do with him cheating. That was a decision and a choice. And Abira, I am 100% in agreement with that. And to top it off, he's looking real opportunist. I'm like, he sure is, because he just randomly showed up while the cameras are rolling. Okay, I'm sure you were in Atlanta a little bit before. They set these scenes up so that the show can have body to it, so that we can see a story unfold. But that boy knew you was in Atlanta long before these cameras started rolling, and I don't trust nothing about Morlin, okay? Then the girls meet up at the club with Minnie and her new boo. This is our final scene, and Abira and Money arrived first. Then Juicy showed up, honey, dressing like she was about to run to the post office. Juicy, child, you ain't got nothing to put on besides that? I was like, what the hell you got on, child? So his friends come on, they get there, and then they all come and gather around, spectating and looking. Oh my gosh, it's more of them. Like, I didn't like that scene. And y'all know how I feel about it. Don't get too offensive with my little women. I don't like that. So, they're sitting around asking questions. Abira got a little bit of a chip on her shoulder because she been on edge all week long. So anything gonna make her pop off. Then this one dude asked, do you like to be picked up? So Abira was like, well, I like to be picked up in certain circumstances. If we're just out and about and you try to pick me up, then no. But if we're in the bedroom, then yes. Okay, first of all, Abira, you gave him a little bit too much, because now he's visualizing picking you up in the bedroom, but you don't want people to look at you as a fetish. Like, pick one. Pick a side. Like, you can't be saying those kind of things to seem attractive, but then get mad when they start further asking questions. Like, don't do that. Like, that's crazy. So all the rest of the, little women are just sitting there kind of looking a little taken aback. And so Minnie was like, well, that's my friend Abira. She gonna tell it like it is. No, Abira's doing too much. Calm down, sweetie. Calm down. So then the twins show up. And Abira was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the bigger person. I'm gonna leave because I feel like me being here is gonna cause a problem. And I want Minnie to have a good night. So I'm going to leave this setting. And I appreciated that, Abira, because, you just never know. The twins, it's like ew, it's hit or miss. Because sometimes when they gather, they seem okay, but then other times, because even when they first were walking up, they're like, Abira over there whispering. She can do whatever she want to do, girl. If she want to whisper, she can. Nobody is saying anything to y'all. And y'all think that, because y'all have each other, that y'all can bully this girl. That's probably why she always barking at y'all. Because of the way you behave. Cut it out. She can whisper if she wants to whisper. Like, girl, get real. I'm like, okay, she whispering. And so what? That is why she always chopping y'all heads off, because y'all act like that. And then we see them, and then we see Abira get into a cab or an Uber and then drive off, and she's kind of crying because, like I said, she wants the twins to like her. She wants to be included. She came down here because she thought these ladies were her friends. And all of y'all, I don't like how y'all are making it so obvious that you have chosen the tiny twins over Abira. Like, yes, Abira can get a little bit, she's rah-rah. She can get upset. But at the same time, she's human just like y'all. Just pull her to the side and have a conversation with her. The same way they did that season when Minnie and Abira got into it because Minnie thought that Abira had taken her swimsuit or her fishing suit or whatever. They had a talk and everything was okay. Like, talk to her. Don't just exclude her so that you can keep your friend group together. Because if that's the case, I don't blame Abira. I wouldn't want to be around none of y'all either. And money, your suitcases will be outside the door if it was me. Honey, you be out. That's just my personal opinion. So y'all need to stop treating that girl like that and allow her to be involved just like you allow the tiny twins. They are just as much to blame as Abira is. So y'all need to be sitting down with them every 5 minutes and drilling it in their heads that they are a little bit too hot-headed, because they are. And they are cocky because they have each other. So cut it out. If I had to rate this episode, I would give it a 7.5. I really like the different layers that they had, and I'm so happy that Minnie finally found someone for her. And that's another thing that made me sad before I end this review. Minnie, may you rest in peace. And I'm so happy you got to experience love before your demise. I am so happy for that. And I'm so happy that you and Juicy buried the hatchet. And I get emotional and so sad to know that you will not be finishing this race with these ladies. But to see that you accomplished what you did in this short time is everything. Child, I thank y'all so much for listening to my review of Little Women of Atlanta. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, and stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.